Shalom, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Eli Bialik from Nefesh B'Nefesh, and I am thrilled to have you join us today for another program learning about wonderful communities in Israel. Today, the topic of discussion is the beautiful city of Haifa and how it is the best place in Israel for empty nesters and young retirees and older retirees. I'd just like to say that Nefesh B'Nefesh is here to provide you with guidance and assistance all along the way. Nefesh B'Nefesh is a private organization that promotes and facilitates Aliyah. We provide Aliyah services, and we work in conjunction with the Jewish Agency for Israel. And the Jewish Agency is responsible in determining eligibility for making Aliyah under the Israeli law of return. What we do at Nefesh B'Nefesh is we assist you both with Aliyah process and with Aliyah planning. And the topic of today's webinar is planning, moving to the city of Haifa. And I would love to introduce you to Smadar Stoller-Porat, who is a rock star. She is a fantastic Ole coordinator for the Haifa municipality, and we've been working together for many years, and she is a tremendous resource for you when you are planning your Aliyah to Haifa. So without further ado, bevakasha, Smadar, please introduce yourself and tell us, what do you do for Olim at the Haifa municipality?
Thank you so much, Eli, and nice to have you all. I'm a little bit embarrassed from the situation of the video, but I will be okay. Anyways, yes, I've been working with Haifa for over 10 years, helping Olim integrate and move physically to Haifa and find themselves in all ages and all professions and all situations of life. I must tell you that Haifa is a very warm and very welcoming city. So we are the capital of the north. We sit at kind of the top of the map of Israel, not the toppest place, but kind of the top. We have mountains and we have beach and we have forest. It's a very, very, very beautiful city. Sorry, I'm biased. I'm a Haifaite myself, but it is a very nice city. And it has all of the services that a large city can provide. We've been working with Olim for many years. We have nice communities in Haifa in all types of religions. We have secular, we have conservative, we have reform. And this is mainly the way how Olim choose their places inside the city. In the area of the neighborhood of the community they relate to. Haifa is a very multicultural coexistence type of city. So we have all of the cultures and all of the religions. And you need to find the right fitting one and find a place to be there, to find a place to live. Among the neighborhoods that I would choose, you have Achuza, Neve Sha'anan, and Kiryat Shmuel. The difference of these neighborhoods are either between the prices of the housing, but also the difference is the sights that you might see from the window, the transportation around you, and obviously the shuls that are available in the different neighborhoods. The most popular, I would say, neighborhood for retirees from North America would be Achuza. You have around 20 different synagogues, shuls in this area. And the chief rabbi of Achuza, who used to be the Minister of Science, who is now the chairperson of Bar Ilan University, is a very known person, Rabbi Hershkovitz. He davens in one of the neighborhoods of Achuza, but he also visits multiple shuls there, and he's also available for advice and support.
Smadar, let me ask you, please, if our Olim are interested in contacting you and learning more about the neighborhoods that you're talking about now, what's the best way for them to do so?
I'm very flexible. They can use the WhatsApp, they can email me, they can send me text messages, whatever feels good for them. I'm happy to answer. In the recent times, I did Zooms, private Zooms with people. So if anyone wants to schedule a private meeting with me and he wishes to do it over Zoom or even WhatsApp, today you can do a video. I'm very flexible with that.
Okay, so if everybody notices, our co-pilot from Nefesh B'Nefesh, Josh Sussman, is posting that your contact information is available through the chat, and we will be providing it later on. I just like to set the stage that at this point in time, it's important to know that the focus of our discussion today is going to be on Haifa, and we're not going to be able to address questions that are specific to individuals and their own private questions now. The scope of this Zoom is going to be to get as much information as possible about different community options for retirees and empty going to Haifa. And we will then open up for some questions and answers for the second part of the Zoom. And our contact information will be made available. And then after the webinar is completed, within a day or so, we'll be sending out information to you, which will then complete the picture and provide you with the information that we have been talking about now. I'm sorry. So Smadar, please continue. You were talking about Achuza.
Yeah, so I screened a few questions that people arise with the different neighborhoods. First of all, I have a detailed email that will elaborate a little bit about each neighborhood. What is the difference? Who are the contacts of the specific neighborhood? And I'm happy to send it later, maybe to you, Eli, and then you can send it to everyone, or people would like to approach personally, no problem. I'm very happy. So I will repeat the names because I see that many people asked this already. So Achuza, Neve Sha'anan, Kiryat Shmuel. Someone mentioned 4 communities. That is true, because there is also Hadar. So if you look at Haifa, Haifa is a mountain, but a wide one, not a narrow one. So at the top of the mountain, you have the Carmel Strip, which would have on it Achuza neighborhood and Neve Sha'anan in different places of the mountain. And then you have Hadar, which is the middle layer of the mountain. And then you have the downtown, the port campus and the beach, which is the lower level of the mountain. Over there, I would say it's mainly for very young adults, students, and it's like a student's hub. It's you have some of the university campuses are sitting over there. So it's just a place to, there are many restaurants there though. And you have obviously the beach. By the way, talking about retirement and having, slower pace of life. So 2 things. First of all, Haifa is a slower pace type of city. If you compare it to Tel Aviv or to other cities, it has like a slower pace. It's very calm and very peaceful. On the other hand, you have enough to do. You have many activities. You have, for instance, well, not Corona days, but you have the film festival, which is the annual countrywide festival for films. It's an international festival, and all of the many of the international producers are coming to Haifa, and it's a big thing. People are either buying cinema tickets or they go around, which is like when again, not Corona, but it's a big, big carnival. You have all during time of Chol HaMoed Sukkot. You have like a street fair all around this festival. So you have a lot of activities in Haifa, but it's also going to sleep a little bit earlier than either cities like Tel Aviv. We have a very nice and long beach street. In kilometers, it's like 13. In miles, it's like 8.2. And you can
You're referring to a boardwalk?
and not necessarily just the boardwalk. I'm talking about the water where you can enter to swim.
Okay.
Yes, there is a very, very nice and recently renovated, and some of it recently built, a promenade or a walking strip that you can walk, I think altogether 13 kilometers. I'm consulting my daughter, who is my IT person here. So you have a very nice, I can send you some links about it. It's a very nice pace where you can walk, or you can use a bicycle if you like, and there are some activities all around it. But the places where you can go into the water and you have a lifeguard and it's safe to swim, you have something like 8 miles long.
Wow, that's huge.
That's huge. And the beach of Haifa was nominated. Last year, there wasn't a nomination. Don't ask me why. Before even Corona, like last summer, but the summer before it and the last 3 summers, we were nominated as the most clean and most beautiful beach in the country. So I have to tell you, we have very nice places to, yeah. You know, one restaurant, Ellie, over the beach.
That's right.
Yeah, so you also have a kosher restaurant on the beach that it sits a little bit above the promenade that I was talking about. So you have a very nice side of the beach. Talking about religious, non-religious life of Haifa, rental prices. Oh, okay. I'll go into the religious later on. Prices is very useful question.
Right. So what I also wanted to ask you to when you're talking about prices, there have also been a couple of questions about how does Haifa compare to other cities? Okay, compared to prices in Jerusalem compared to prices in Tel Aviv, because I know the answer is going to be good. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, so a joke. The previous mayor of Haifa, who is a good friend of mine, Yona, there are 2 things he used to say, and I would like to quote him. He used to be, in his early age, he used to be the assistant for the mayor of Jerusalem, Teddy Kollek. And Teddy Kollek used to say that Jerusalem is the most beautiful city in the country, in the world, and Haifa is the most beautiful city in Israel. So that's one quote that I wanted to say when you compare our cities. But I wanted to say about the pricing. In Haifa, you can find an apartment that for the same price that you can find in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, maybe an elevator and a very, very small, tiny room. In Haifa, you can find a spacious place. The prices are changing between the different neighborhoods and where they are located inside the city. For instance, if you have sites, which in Haifa you have many places of sites, you have the eastern side where you can see the port, and you have the western side where I live, where you can see the beach where you go and swim. So you have options to see the beach, you have options to see forest, and it's very, very nice sights from the windows. So in case you find an apartment and have very nice views, you would probably pay a little higher. It varies by the accessibility. Sometimes you have apartments, you know, Israel has also older buildings. Some of them were renovated, some less, some were only renovated inside, some were renovated completely with elevators and so on. So if you have an apartment with an elevator, it might be a little bit higher than the one without. You have to remember that we are sitting on a mountain. So in some cases, you might have stairs to go enter the building or to enter the apartment. Not all of the buildings have elevators. So if you need, in case you need a an easier access in, you have to check it before you during the time you're looking for a place. Prices. First of all, I just looked at the Aliyapedia of Nefesh B'Nefesh, which is the Bible for you when you make Aliyah. Sorry, maybe it's a wrong word, but it's a very, very detailed and very informative website. And all of the communities and all of the cities, we have our information on the website. So first of all, I was looking at the prices, and they're right, they're fine with the housing. Apartment to rent, let's say 2 or 3 rooms. And when you count the rooms, yeah, Madeleine, I saw. When you count the rooms in Israel, you count the living room together. So when you say 3 rooms, it's 2 bedroom and the living room, and so on. If it's 4 rooms, it's 3 bedroom and a living room. So I would say a 3 rooms apartment, 2 bedrooms and a living room can start from 1,500 shekels, 1,500, up to 3,000 shekels. How will you know which one is which? Depends what I told you before, where if you have sights from the window, which type of neighborhood. When we discussed the neighborhoods before, Achuza is the most pricey one. Neve Sha'anan is a little less. Hadar is even maybe likewise or a little less. And then you have Kiryat Shmuel, which is a suburb of Haifa, but it belongs to Haifa, and it resides outside of the area of the main city, the mountain that we spoke about. By the way, it's a beautiful neighborhood, and I can send you afterwards a short YouTube on how the neighborhood looks like and what's special about it. Over there, the apartments that you have are relatively cheaper than the ones inside the city. Talking about...
So can I ask you, Smada, for a second?
Yeah.
Because you had briefly mentioned the issue of Jewish or religious affiliation, and with the different communities that you're talking about, are there specific affiliations that would feel more comfortable in different neighborhoods, or a higher concentration in a specific neighborhood?
Great question. Yeah. So when I mentioned now Kiryat Shmuel, from all of the neighborhoods that I mentioned before, it's the most religious one. Not the most religious, but it has an advantage that the others might not have in case you would like to live among a religious community. Kiryat Shmuel is closed during Shabbat. So there are no cars entering or exiting the neighborhood, which means it's completely closed, and it's more observant than the others in that matter. I would say that secular people would probably won't live in this neighborhood. So Kiryat Shmuel is the most religious one. Hadar is the most secular one. Hadar, you have the Vizhnitz community, but it's not an Anglo community. Vizhnitz is a yeshiva, and it's a very, they are mainly Haredi communities, but not so many English speakers that I'm aware of live in this neighborhood. So Hadar is quite spread out, and the English speakers that live around Hadar would live in the more secular areas. That's the second neighborhood that we discussed. And Achuza and Neve Sha'anan. Achuza is modern Orthodox by the most articulate modern Orthodox that can be considered. And Neve Sha'anan is a little bit more tight, more frum. So, and again, also Neve Sha'anan is relatively big. So you might be able to be, by the way, in Neve Sha'anan, you also have Chabad. So, and in all of them actually, but in Neve Sha'anan, Chabad is more popular than just the Tilumi. You also have the Tilumi, but Chabad is a little bit more popular. So, you know, you have to come, well, I don't know what will happen with pilot trips, if it's even an option these days, but when someone decides to choose Haifa and he has the option to come on a pilot trip, usually I tailor make his pilot trip in Haifa. He would, I would have like an interview with a person, or I don't know, a discussion. We would choose the main topics that are very important for the family. And then we would try during the pilot trip to meet related people to the different things that someone would like to investigate. It can be a real estate agent, it can be a shul or a community, it can be volunteer options, whatever someone would ask to have.
So, Smadar, what I wanted to ask you, since we're approaching the end of the first part of the webinar, is to know a little bit about services that are available for those who are retirees in Haifa. And I think that one of the questions also would be, as far as, Haifa is a hilly city. It's on the side of a mountain, and the question of mobility and access for those who may find it a little bit challenging to get around.
Okay, yeah. So services, I would start with transportation, which is a semi-service. And I just saw a few questions about it, and I want to answer. Haifa is very advanced in terms of transportation. It has bus routes running all over town. We also have a new service. It's called Tic Tac. It's a bus that you order, like Get Taxi, or I don't know how you call those, like Uber, but in a small bus. And if you want to go from one place to another, you can upload the application and you can order a bus. It will give you the exact point where it's going to wait for you, and it's going to take you from point A to point B for only 10 shekels. So we have a very, very, very
sophisticated
transportation service in Haifa. So you don't need to have a car. You can have a car. It's very easy to go around with a car, but it's not a must. Even parking is not a big deal in Haifa. Again, it's not a must because you have a very efficient public transportation. In terms of services, since we are a large city, all of the governmental offices, they have a branch, or they have an office in Haifa. You don't have to schlep yourself anywhere outside of Haifa. Yes, Bat Galim is accessible. You can take yourself to the Ministry of Absorption, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education. Everything is in Haifa. You don't have to go anywhere outside of the city. And it's very easy to find the services. Also, you have me. When you need to set an appointment, obviously you have the application of My Visit, which is how to make an appointment. But on the first weeks of Aliyah, before you are acknowledged to the system, you need someone to help you, and I'm there for you. Usually I take my Olim to the Ministry of Absorption, Misrad HaKlita, on the first time. It's my pleasure. I find it's very overwhelming for me every time to greet someone on the first steps. We also have real estate agencies that are איך אומרים שעברו מכרז מיוחד, אישור?
They are authorized, and they've gone through a specific tender to offer their services in the name of the Haifa municipality.
And that would be available for renting and buying. So people are asking about prices. Well, you can look on the website of Nefesh B'Nefesh. I can ask someone to send you the specific link. But again, if you need some specific information about it, no problem. I would tell you that Haifa is like between half to more or less half of the price of the larger other cities, Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, more or less.
Okay, so Smadar, so I see that there are a couple of people on the chat who feel that they'd like some more detailed information about pricing in the different neighborhoods. And one of the things that I wanted to suggest is to introduce people to a website called yadshtaim.co.il. It's like a Craigslist in Israel for those who are looking for purchasing homes, for renting homes. And if you use Google Chrome, you can also use the Translate add-on, and it makes it very navigable. I'm forgetting my English. That's what happens after 25 years here in Israel. And that way you'll be able to compare different neighborhoods. I see that people are also asking, how does Achuza compare to Beit Shemesh? How does Neve Sha'anan compare to a neighborhood in Jerusalem? So one of the things that I'd like to ask you, and I think this is a great time just to open now up the floor to the questions and answers, is
Ellie, can I interrupt for 1 second? This is Josh Jessling from the marketing and program team at Nefesh B'Nefesh. Ellie may or may not even be aware of this, but our team is finalizing a English translation, not of the entire site of Yad Shtaim or Madlan, but an English guide that will help you to navigate the sites. It will get you a long way and be able to use it. To do that, we will be rolling that out in the next week or two, and it will be very helpful in a way that people will be able to navigate these services that are just not available in English straight. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Okay, so my question is, looking at Haifa, would you consider Haifa to be an Anglo-friendly community? Is Haifa, does it have many English speakers? Would you be using Hebrew most of the time? Can you share as far as what your feeling is as far as the day-to-day life in Haifa and the issue of language?
So I brought my statistics from the area, and I looked at it.
The area is a municipality.
The municipality, true. I would say that around 15 to 20% of the population of the citizens of the city would be English speakers, not necessarily in the last few years, but in the last 20 years. So you have, like, if you take Achuza, it has a lot of English speakers around. The same thing happens with Neve Sha'anan and Kiryat Shmuel. You have at least 20%. Kiryat Shmuel is almost 30-35% of English speakers. But since Haifa is a twin city, it's an academic city, and it's very highly ranked in the terms of education. Many of the people in Haifa would speak English, even if they are not fluent English speakers or coming from English-speaking countries. You can manage speaking English in the city. And somebody was asking about Ulpan, which is why you need the English when you make Aliyah, joking. But in Haifa, we have, since it's a large city, we have all types of Ulpanim, including seniors Ulpan. And what's so special about the seniors Ulpan, that a regular Ulpan would take 5 months. Seniors Ulpan would take roughly between 8 to 10 months. The reason is because they teach it in a slower pace, not 5 days a week like the regular Ulpanim, but 3 times a week, which is easier. You have time to study, and then you have time to relax in between. Again, I'm not considering Corona times. Now during Corona, some of the Ulpanim are on Zoom, specifically in Haifa. We started again the regular Ulpanim, and we are teaching the seniors in the afternoons because we are trying to avoid the people that are above a certain age to meet other young adults. We are trying to isolate people from other communities in the terms of just meeting them in Ulpan, and they study in the afternoon. I hope that once we are over this crazy situation, Ulpan will start like every 1 month, like we started before. Every beginning of the month, more or less, we start a new Ulpan.
Great. Thank you very much. There are a couple of questions that I see that are very interesting. One of the things that I'd like to ask you is regarding healthcare in Haifa. So, people who are making aliyah, mid-late 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, may have specific healthcare needs as everybody else and every other age group. What does Haifa have to offer, as well as what does Haifa have to offer for those who prefer English-speaking medical staff?
Okay, so since Haifa is the capital of the north, we have 3 major hospitals and another 3 semi-private, so for rehabilitation or other things, or all types of surgeries. Rambam Hospital, for instance, is the largest hospital in the area, and is very known for his cardio, for his cancer, and for his brain, I don't know how to call it, specialties. Healthcare system in Israel is Kupat Cholim, obviously, and you have you can choose between Maccabi, Meuchedet, Klalit, and Leumit. Leumit and Meuchedet are the smaller ones. Maccabi and Klalit are the largest ones. I would say that most of my Olim would choose Maccabi. We are not recommending which one to choose, because mainly since it's a government law to give health insurance to every citizen of the country. Maccabi is more friendly for the Anglo Olim here, specifically in Haifa. There is a very nice webinar that Tanya Kardash is doing on Nefesh B'Nefesh. There is a recorded information about how to choose your health insurance and which one gives you what. Basically, you have the basic package, and then you can, on top of it, you can add extra service. Usually, when you're approaching a specific age, you take the larger package. And as an Oleh Chadash, when you join it, you don't have a waiting time like any other person that would join the additional program.
Right. So I'd just like to add that there is no prejudice for pre-existing conditions. As long as you are an Oleh, you're able to sign up for the, first of all, there's no prejudice for making aliyah with pre-existing medical conditions, and for signing up for the supplementary health coverage, as long as you do so within 3 months, so that also there's no prejudice for previous existing conditions.
Okay, so what else are we talking about?
So my question to you is about specifically within the neighborhoods, within Achuza, and within Neve Sha'anan and within Kiryat Shmuel, there is accessibility to English-speaking doctors?
Yes, absolutely. I have a Facebook group. It's called Haifa Aliyah. When you will get my information, you will see how to join this Facebook group, and you will see that people are coming and asking one another which doctor is good for specific situations, or a family doctor. And you would see that people are recommending. I'm not in a position that I can give you too many details because I'm working for the government, but you have family doctors that are either Americans, they speak fluent English, or you have people that are fluent in English, very easy to find. Same thing happens in case you need to go to, I don't know, for tests, or, I don't know, blood tests or whatever. You have enough English speakers in Haifa to give you this service. Someone was asking about volunteer opportunities, and And since, again, we are a large city, there are a lot of options and opportunities to volunteer. You just need to give me an information of what interests you as a person, and I can find 80% of the time I would find a best match. Maybe less than 80%, and you would find an option to volunteer. There is another program, and I'm so sorry for raising it again, not Corona times, but you have on Tuesdays in Haifa, it's called Shlishi B'Shleikes, Tuesdays with Shleikes, you know, like
suspenders.
Suspenders. It's a fun day, special day for retirees, for people that are not working and that they are in a certain age. They can go to the cinema. I think it's 10 shekels for a ticket to the movie, but on top of it, it's not just the movie. You have a lecture and you have a place where you can dine for a very small amount of money, like a breakfast or a refreshment. And I can tell you that my father used to use it before Corona a lot. It's a nice get together. It's a nice place to meet other people. If you want to be occupied, we can keep you very busy.
Okay, so thank you for that information, Smadar. I'd like to ask you something that has come up previously, where people ask about the air quality of Haifa. So if you can just please address the issue as far as what it's like to be living in Haifa and how you feel about the air quality.
Okay. I want to tell you something. First of all, about myself, I was born in Haifa, and I lived a few years outside of Israel. And when I came back, I chose to come back to Haifa and to raise my family in Haifa. I have 3 kids. The older one is 22, and the younger one is 15. And in between, I have 19, who is in the army now. I wouldn't raise my kids in a place that wouldn't be safe for them in terms of air quality and in terms of general quality, if you would say. In the past, Haifa was in charge of Haifa, Kiryat, all of the Krayot, Tivon, Nesher, all of the cities that are outside of Haifa were considered Haifa. Even today, when the Jewish agency are sending me a list of olim that are coming to Haifa, many times I see olim that are actually coming to Tivon, but they are signed as, written as Haifa, because Haifa was the largest city and all of the small yeshuvim, small cities around, were considered to be Haifa. So when you talk about air pollution is not inside the city, although sometimes during the year, especially when there is heat wave, some of the bad smells of the refineries are coming towards the city. But again, the new mayor of Haifa has decided, there is a big shout out about it, but also big action about it. They are trying to remove all of the refineries outside of the city. One of them is already not working. So in terms of air quality, I think the main problem of air quality all around the world, by the way, is if you live in a large city where you have many cars, that's the main problem. That is the most polluting situation. And Haifa is not a city with lots of traffic. You don't have big traffic jams. It's, as I said before, it's a calm city. You always have parking somewhere around where you need to find a place. Not so many cars inside, and the transportation, the public transportation that we have, most of it is green transportation. The buses in Haifa that are running, most of them are green buses. We have a matronit, which is like a light train, which is completely hybrid and green. So in terms of pollution, it's not inside Haifa, it's outside the suburbs of the city, and I have even a short email about it with a more detailed explanation. Anyone would like to know more, I can.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Smadar, for that important information. You know, today, many times people are continuing to work, in close to retirement age, even post-retirement age. And there are questions regarding, what is the ability to find work in Israel, let's say from the age of 60 and above. And when somebody is making aliyah, should this hope or this plan for income be planned upon as part of a person's budget for aliyah?
Okay, in terms of employment, well, it's very sad to say that, but ageism exists everywhere. When I speak about Haifa, making aliyah and those steps, I try to be responsible. I don't sell you just dreams. I give you the actual situation and reality in Israel and in Haifa. Whatever I'm answering now, it's not specifically for Haifa, it's all around the country, but I know that people that are creative find a way to make an income. And I'll give you some type of ideas. I have many olim that weren't teachers before, but today they work as private teachers in a company, by the way, not completely עצמאי, not completely
independent.
Having your independent עצמאי שיש לך עסק.
Private contractor.
Yeah, not as a private contractor, but working for a company that gives you clients, and you don't need to worry about promoting yourself and selling yourself and so on. So I have many olim that are teaching English to kids or to young adults for a nice price per hour and an okay income. It's not a career job, but it makes an income. And I have people that are giving a consultant. I have people that were, I don't know, in the US, they were working in an IT company, and they come here and they give advice to IT companies in Israel. You know that Haifa is a big high-tech park. We have a lot of companies, and I have a few olim that are giving consultant from outside, having the previous experience and knowledge from the US. I have a yoga teacher and some people that are giving trainings that are already retired. I have even a lady that opened her own studio, Yael. I don't know if you remember her, Ellie. And she has her own studio. I have somebody that opened an Airbnb, again, not Corona, but it's also a nice income. I don't have any more ideas in the top of my head, but I know that people can manage to find a small type of job, part-time job, not a full-time job, but people can be creative and find some options. You can open a business. We don't recommend you to do it on the first year. If it's something that you used to do in the US and you have some specific skills that might be, useful anywhere in the world, then you can use them. Basically, if you retire, then enjoy. I mean, we have such a beautiful city. If you have the time to walk in the beach and to take a hike in the mountain, then by all means do so, and maybe take me once in a while so we can have some.
Absolutely. Haifa is beautiful, and it is relatively affordable. And I would also like to encourage everybody to go onto the Nefesh B'Nefesh website and to look at our sample budgets for Aliyah. And you can go into Google and type Nefesh B'Nefesh sample budget, and you'll be able to find it that way. And you'll see what our sample budget for singles 55 and up and couples 55 and up. And I would say that Haifa is probably middle of the road. In other words, you'll find there a range, a high end and a low end as far as the cost of living in Israel. And I would say that Haifa is somewhere in the middle of that range that appears on the sample budget. Smadar, it's always a pleasure to be speaking with you. I'd like just to take a moment right now and to invite all of our participants in this webinar. If you have not yet submitted an Aliyah application and you feel that your tentative Aliyah timeframe is within the next 12 months, okay, please go to the Nefesh B'Nefesh website, nbn.org.il, and on the upper right-hand side, there's a menu item that says Apply. And it's an online questionnaire. It takes about 25 minutes to fill out. And then when you complete that questionnaire, it opens up a file both with Nefesh B'Nefesh and with the Jewish Agency, and we'll be able to assist you with further guidance after you have opened up an Aliyah application, and that's how you move forward in the process. So if you were so excited from hearing Smadar talk about Haifa today, and you're saying, okay, now I'm gonna make Aliyah, I'm doing this, the place to go is the Nefesh B'Nefesh website and to submit the Aliyah application. Smadar, we're almost at the end of our talk, and I'd just like to thank you and the Haifa municipality for offering wonderful services to our Olim to help them research their Aliyah and then to help them after they arrive here in Israel to Haifa. It's just such a wonderful feeling to have somebody so caring and somebody who wants to help our Olim. So I wanted to thank you very much, Smadar.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you. One last very short thing to say. When you decide, or if you decide to make Aliyah and you don't have a place to stay during your first 2 weeks of Aliyah and you consider Haifa as your city, we have temporary housing. I will send the detailed information about it. We have also solutions on the first weeks of Aliyah, to start without taking hotel or I don't know, these type of things, and it's subsidized and it's special for Olim. That's it.
Fantastic. So what I can say is from my experience, and I've been to Haifa a couple of times, and Smadar has shown me around the city. She's shown me the sights. It's a beautiful place to live. And I really recommend that if you're thinking about living in a city that is warm and inviting and has opportunities for socializing and for activities, whether it's in community centers or in nature, Haifa is the place to go because there's just so much there. Smadar, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. And we look forward to seeing many, many more Olim to Haifa.
Thank you. Thank you, Eli.
Okay. Bevakasha.
Bye-bye.